Talking about bad, bad girls, yeah. Oh, what's up? It's your man Rico the Opinionist. Welcome to my Opinionist page. Please like, share, and subscribe. Go down to that the description box, and click one of those wonderful links. I have my Cash App, my PayPal, the link to my book, The Greatest Pain I Ever Felt. Conversation with my absent biological father who never wanted to be found. 40 pages of, I'm talking about dynamite reading. If you click on that link, it'll take you to the page. You read it, and at the bottom, it'll let you know how to purchase it. And link to my nonprofit, Black Man Mojo Incorporated. The nonprofit is basically set up to empower, educate, and celebrate black men, black boys. So, if you're interested in hollering at your boy, fool with me if you're cool with me. You see the links on this page, this Facebook page? Get at me. Well, I have an opinion tonight, and I want to, it's just something that's always on my mind. This thing, I know, I'll say this. There's a situation that has occurred in Memphis, Tennessee, where a 2-year-old little boy was dropped off at a Goodwill, right? And the story is coming out, it's unfolding even as we speak. So many things have been said. I was even led to the mother of the 2-year-old little boy's Facebook page. Put a pin in that. But up until a few minutes ago, I was briefed on what's really going on, and got to hear the young lady's voice. She was talking through an activist there in Memphis, some Burris lady, and talking to the news there, and she was saying that she was riding with the driver of the car, and I looked at her Facebook page. She was born in New York, but she lives in some little town, a suburb or a country town of Alabama. So she was in the car with her baby with the driver, another guy, and a woman in the back seat, which has been identified as the driver's girlfriend. And so, on her Facebook page, she said, y'all talking all this ish, y'all know what y'all talking about, and blah, blah, blah. Y'all don't even know ION. Y'all don't even know what y'all talking about. I'm good, UM. GUD, by the way. I'm good. So, she said on the news that this guy, they were all in the car, and they drove to Nashville, and he tried to, go back to her page. She said, this dude got mad at me because I wouldn't be his trick. And so he gonna pull off and leave me. Well, she said on the news, we got to Nashville, the woman in the back seat, and the other guy, unidentified man, and the driver, and the baby was in the back seat because he thought that the girl was his sister. He let her, allegedly, according to her, that the woman in the back seat of the car was his sister, but actually it was his girlfriend with another man back there, and she was holding her baby. And they pulled up to the store, I guess, got some gas or whatever, but he told her, look, and these are her words, he gonna say, get out here and sell some pussy and all that kind of stuff. And I told her I wasn't even trying to do all of that. I ain't even trying to do that kind of stuff. And she said that's when he pulled off and left her in Nashville. And then the part we catch up on is the public. We see on the news that a little 2-year-old was abandoned at a Goodwill. A man dropped him off and blah, blah, blah. So the story's still unfolding. And I don't know if she's made her way to Memphis to claim her 2-year-old little boy. But if you go to her Facebook page and look at her pictures. And I keep telling y'all, I told y'all on my last live, I told y'all it's not grown women who need protection, it's black children. Because everything she did, whatever decision she made to get in the car with that man, led up to what we're talking about now. That is the little boy being dropped off. Luckily, they dropped him off because apparently the man was mad because she wouldn't get out there and sell that. And so he like, well, if you be, I guess, and pulled off and left her there in Nashville and drove up to Memphis with those other people. And so I'm assuming those are the people we're seeing in these pictures that are popping up on the news and on Facebook and other parts of social media. So y'all get it? See, here's my topic. When I went to her Facebook page and then I heard her actual voice, and people write the way they speak. And in our community, in the black community, particularly in Memphis, and hell, it can be Dallas, wherever you live, wherever there's a large concentration of black folks in any major city, you have this problem. What is it about the King's English that black people seem to stumble over, or it's like, let me say this. King's English is like Mike Tyson. And we're going up against, a lot of black folks are going against King's English as if they're fighting around with Mike Tyson. They getting their ass knocked out in the first and second round. English is kicking black folks' ass in this country. What is the problem? Well, I'm from Memphis. I grew up there for years listening to black people in Memphis say, well, everybody don't have to go to college. Everybody ain't got to be, education ain't for everybody. And then they want to refer to people as, they ain't nothing but some educated fools. But one thing about those folks who went to college and took it seriously, and one thing about those folks who are considered educated fools, they know how to command the King's English. I am not professing to be really perfect at it, but you can tell that I've read a few books along the way, and I also read some books when I got to college. Shout out to Grambling State University. And you can tell that I've had conversations with other people who've also read books. I mean, they had a particular intellect. Can you tell that when I'm talking to you? Yeah, I use a few cuss words here and there, but please don't allow that to diminish my intellect that I've been working on since I was in the 4th grade. So, I just want to know why is it that so many of us just do not pay attention to education? What is it about reading that we seem to have this attitude with? And and I guess people say the more impoverished or the poorer the people are, the worse their English is. I guess so. Because it's something to it, and someone's going to have to give me answers. And please don't tell me I'm judging, because y'all hear it as well. Y'all work on jobs with people. You're supposed to be in corporate America. And these people are pronouncing words that are not even supposed to be pronounced that way. They're creating sentences that aren't even sentences. They're using double negatives and predicates and where they're not supposed to go. And what is it? How come everybody didn't have my English teacher at Cypress Junior High School, Miss Edna Davis? How come everybody didn't have my my composition teacher, my freshman English teacher, Miss Dr. Ann S. Williams, who would always remind her that she received her PhD from Columbia University? Some of y'all probably should have gone to some HBCUs. Because one thing about attending an HBCU, historically black college university, in the 90s, we were very fortunate to have those professors who also taught in the 50s and 60s, meaning they were there during the time of segregation where education was the way out for African Americans. Even before then, 100 years before them, education was the way out. And when we integrated, we lost our minds and lost our ability to speak. And then those who speak correct English, we say they're trying to talk white. Let me tell you something. See, I think we have things kind of mixed up. There are people like me who try to use correct English. And some people speak, as they say, proper English. And then there's a third category. There are people out there who look like you and me, black folks, who do try to talk white. That is a real thing. My mom, my dad, I was telling my dad the other day. Yeah, that's real. And these guys, well, I was just saying, to my friend Brad, and that's real. And those folks will have to be, they just where they are. They believe, I guess they say it's environmental. They grew up in the suburbs. That's why they sound that way. And I can dig it because geographically we have what's called these accents and the ways in which we project. If you live in the inner city, yeah, you sound like it. Man, these motherfuckers around here, man, these neck motherfuckers, man. Man, trying to read the neck, man. It is. The hood is different. And even if you're on the East Coast, son, you hear me, bro? No, I'm sorry, I'm going south. Son, word up. And you go down to New Orleans. Hey, baby. No, you know what you. And then it goes into something you don't understand. And then Memphis, man, what, they all around. You hear me, man? I understand that. I still have a piece of that, but I use it when it's supposed to be used, when I'm in the environment and talking to folks who are not like who are not my college graduate friends or stuff. You dig it? But my thing is, why is broken English so big in the black community? I guess when it goes along with the new culture, the hood culture in the black community. The hood culture has been magnified as to be what black people are, and that's certainly not true. That's just a subculture of black America. But corporations have funded hood culture. And black boys and black girls in elementary school and in junior high school and in high school, even as we speak, are being teased for having a command of the King's English. What's good, Gavin? Hassan Phyllis, what's up? And so anyway, I'm still, I'm pulling my twisties out, trying to figure out why do so many of us still sound as if we were just freed by Abraham Lincoln off a plantation? Why do we still sound this way? Hassan said, yeah. He says, the West Coasters sound like ghetto proper. Yeah, nigga, here, over there. Yeah, cuz, here. It is. It's the weirdest shit. I know Hassan. I went to college with a man. You, cuz, over here, and over there. Yeah. Y'all nigga. I mean, yeah. Oh, they're terrible. But that's accents. The command of the King's English can come in any accent. My issue is, why haven't we commanded the King's English? I know a lot of us take pride in understanding, in Louisiana, patois, Creole, and all of that stuff. I get that as well. And in inner cities across the country, they say, well, you speak slang. Well, that's cool too. Slang came about as a way of like the slaves did, code. They spoke code to let people know, each other know, that we're going by the river to probably escape. We're going to meet here. There was a form of a slang. Then we got in inner cities. Slang is also used to speak in a code where the dominant culture, white folks, wouldn't understand what we're doing. But we've let white folks in on the slang. They've even created what's called an urban dictionary to keep up what we're doing. We can't keep anything. But my thing is, why is it that we so many of us are unable to have the ability to enunciate words, put words together in a sentence, and understand, even as we write, we should be able to verbalize commas and semicolons and periods and exclamation points. Some of us just talk. No commas, no semicolons, and that's how they write. I think a lot of issues in our community stems from education. So what kind of education? The original education: reading, writing, arithmetic. When people know how to read, they have there's a broader ability to think when they know how to read. See, a lot of this stuff that's going on in the inner city and stuff, in the hoods, a lot of this violence, because they can't think past the words. Because they don't know too many words. People who love to read books, they get the most words. I'm trying to get back into, because sometimes I believe that my brain or my intellect is shrinking. And especially during the pandemic, if you're not talking to too many people, you start losing words and what they mean, and we have to. We have to get back to that. And also, we can't continue to ignore the impact of the hood on the overall society is in black folks. Because they're everywhere. You go to your drive-thrus in your restaurants. May I help you? Now, we ain't got no more of that. No, who's the only place where you can go? And I was talking to my girl Mary Max earlier about this. I think one of the only restaurants, drive-through restaurants you can go through, and you can get someone who sounds like they've read a book or they paid attention in English class, is through Chick-fil-A. How are you? May I help you? Very pleasant. They've commanded to the King's English. But then you drive through churches and some Popeyes. Hello, may I take your order? We ain't got none of that. Okay, that's going to be $7.95 drive through. No, what is that? And these managers, see, if you want to know how good or bad the staff is in these little drive-through restaurants, go check out the shift manager. If they're trifling, their staff that's greeting you is trifling. And we're going to have to get better as a community. We're going to have to get better at being able to read and write and therefore being able to communicate. A lot of drama that goes on in our communities as relates to a lot of violence, it's because people don't have the ability to communicate. They go straight for the gun and go straight for these hands because they can't talk their way out of a wet paper bag. If you can't talk, you can't think. And so when I heard that young lady, he told me that if I ain't trying to, sell no pussy, none of that. Like, little mama, you're on the news. She could have said, well, he drove me to a place and he demanded that I go out and attempt to prostitute myself. And I informed him, that's not what I'm about. I'm a lady. Or he could have said, I'm not into that. You ain't have to say exactly what he's going to do, lady. No couth. You didn't have to. And so that part of keeping it real, she didn't have to get on the news and say that. Even though they blurted it out, Michael Craddock, what to do, bro? Why do we sound like this? And of course, when I'm in a small circle, my friends, my English is probably all over the place because we're communicating. But we have people who are publicly speaking as if they were held captive and their tongues were ripped out of their throats and their mouths, and they were released out to the world with their inability to speak. But that's not the case. We have households that don't push reading. We have households where the mother and the father, if there's a mother and a father in these black households, but we'll say where the parents are speaking English as if they're a prisoner. It's something going on. So we're dealing with a couthless group of young people, Mary Max, that couth has to be taught. And if they're not being taught, this is what we have. A lot of broken English black folks. And we should, that's the stuff we should be talking about. I mean, as a community. There are a lot of things that, because I'll bring up stuff and I'll continue to bring up stuff that we need to be tackling in our community. And it can be done, just tell them and ask them, why do you speak that way? Shit, I don't know, just be saying it. Like, why? Why do you speak that way? We have an educational system in this country that's supposed to be better than third world. Then I learned that in my own neighborhood, my old neighborhood of Hollywood, Springdale, North Memphis, there were libraries all around. But I learned that people walk right past those libraries. Even in the city of Dallas, where I am. People walk past those libraries. Guess who's in those libraries? In Dallas, homeless people trying to stay cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Or if it's somebody in there, some older people. You don't have 15 to 35-year-old black folks in the library just in there to seek knowledge. Well, you say, well, Rico, we have the internet. We have this. Well, how many people do you see are reading their little ebooks? There may be readings like some gossip blogs or something. And just look at how people type when they're responding on Facebook. It lets you know their educational level. I understand when you text, you shorten words, but that's even become ridiculous. You literally have to keep up when people spelling words because people have literally become intellectually lazy to the point that their mouths cannot move. They cannot formulate words. So I'm one of those cats, if I'm trying to meet with a young lady, don't text me, sweetheart. Call me. Because you're not going to text me these broken words. They say, you know what people say, I don't even care. Now they spell it I-O-N. I don't even know. K-N-O. K-N-O. I don't even know about that. B-O-U-T. That. D-E-T. What is going on? And it's not just a young people thing. It's some older people in their late 20s and 30s and 40s. And Lord Jesus, don't get to some of these 50-year-old blacks. It's like they've created a new language. You know, some people still sound like they're at home and where they're from in Arkansas, Mississippi, and the back rural parts of it. It is weird. But when we start, hopefully in 2021, we'll get focused on the things that we really need. What we need to talk about in our community. Because that's what I'm about. See, I spent my youth in my 30s, in my early 40s, talking about how the white man is the devil. We know that. How, you know, racism, I've talked about all of that. But 2021 and beyond, we're going to have to talk about those things that we can correct. Now, we're going to continue to talk about how we, systematic racism. I'm for that. But we can't talk about systematic racism. We don't talk about our own behavior, how we're playing into it. Unless we're going to get some missiles, some tanks, a bunch of AR guns, grenades, and do the damn thing. Well, we have to behave accordingly behind the walls of racism, white supremacy. You can continue to fight and try to run for offices. I'm not saying I do any of that, but it's some stuff that we can do on our own that we don't have to help them. We don't have to help people screw us over like other groups do. You know, we could master the educational system like Asians. The STEM program, the Asians got that. The people from India, even Africans from Nigeria, from Kenya, they come over here and master the very stuff we say are culturally biased, like the SAT and ACT. Well, it's culturally biased. Well, how the hell do the kids come from Africa make the top score on the same SAT that you say black kids can't do because we're playing games? Because we're so busy trying to put a football in our boys' hands and hit a modeling contract or a dance contract in our girls' hands that we're not putting books in their hands. That's why. See, they know they're not very athletic. Now, you have some Asians in gymnastics, but we try to put black boys in football and basketball. Y'all ain't even cool enough to try to put them in golf or baseball. Just football and basketball. If they can't do another one of those, rap. Now, granted, you have to know some words in order to rap, be a successful rapper, but they come up with some weird-ass rhymes. Very dangerous and deadly rhymes. Hence why a lot of them are killing each other. You put that death music out, well, I guess it'll come back on you. So anyway, what about these folks with college degrees that sound like they still picking and a grinning? What? We have people with college degrees that sound like they need to go back and study for a GED. What's with all that? What's that about? Because, see, the thing is, and y'all know this, Malcolm X never went to college. But Malcolm X can out-articulate and out-debate anybody. Because you know what he did when he was in jail? He didn't try to join no Crips, no Bloods, and all that. They came in and hooked him up in the nation. He remained disciplined. And the number one place that he hung out was the library. That's the least you can do. Read a book. Twice a month, 3 times a month, or once a month. Just read a book. And you will feel your intelligence rise after every book. Because you'll learn new words. And we need, instead of saying, well, what we need for the hood? Gavin said, reading is the lifeblood of the brain. You're correct. You have to, because if you stop reading and stop using it, well, that's how dementia and all that stuff kicks in. And a lot of times, you get it sooner than 78 years old. You have to read. You have to be able to talk. A lot of us, when we integrated in this society, we went and started doing other stuff. We stopped doing what Booker T. Washington suggested for us. We stopped doing what even W.E.B. Du Bois suggested for us. We stopped doing what Dr. King suggested as it relates to the intellect, a building of the intellect. We stopped doing these things. And we have this hood, a hood full of people. If they knew how to read and talk, they would no longer be in the hood. I'll always suggest to people in the ghetto, you can read yourself out of the ghetto. First, learn how to read. When you learn how to read, learn how to comprehend. Therefore, you're able to analyze, critically think. So instead of you rappers like, back in the day, allegedly Master P gave everybody in the Calio projects big screen TVs, don't give them that. The best gift you can give people in the hood, a book. It can be just 20 pages, 40 pages, 50 pages, in a book list. That's what we did when I was in college. We passed around book lists to each other. Book lists were valuable. I still have a book list. I call it Rico's Black Book List. I still have one. And I bought a few of those books off that list, and on that list I have those books in my library already. My thing is, get off your behind and start reading again, man. And I think it'll make me even more powerful with my words and my ability to use words. And it's just time out to hear people in 2020. Now I understand that we were in 1820, we were in 1620. And enslaved Africans didn't know the language, so as they learned, they just learned it word by word. Sometimes it wasn't the best, but they churned it out, and as years went on, they were able to master, because they fought for the right to learn how to read, because against the law for slaves to know how to read. They call them slave codes, among other things. They were not allowed to do, but the first thing one thing they wanted to do upon being freed was to learn how to read. We just act like that's some kind of pastime. See, when you don't know how to read, you sound like that young lady on the news. You sound like every other black person that a white reporter loves to put the microphone in their face. I ain't seen nothing, but let me tell you something. I know them peoples was up to something, cause every day I be hearing stuff that be going on up in there. And let me tell y'all this. God don't like ugly, cause he said in the word that us as peoples, if we see that kind of shit, they love to put the microphone. But you rarely hear them put a microphone on someone who sounds like me or you, right? Because we'll tell the story without all the drama and use English correctly. Because we realize that we're on television. And we realize in the Booker T. Washington sense that when we speak into a microphone, we're representing not only myself, but a lot of other people. But when the purely uneducated get on the news, they think they're representing themselves. And so they try to shine. It's time out for that. And I'm not beating down on the poor. Because one thing about it, poor like Dr. Damn it. The current, damn it, I'm sorry. He wrote Gifted Hands. He's a world top surgeon. He was nominated to be over HUD. I don't know why his name escapes me right now. And people are hating on him because of changes he's making in HUD. And I guess because he works for Trump. So if you work for Trump, you automatically gonna get hated on. It's just there's some kind of black phobia, some kind of black illness. But Biden is kicking niggas. I'm sorry. Biden is talking to blacks like kids. Yeah, Dr. Ben Carson. Yeah, but that's another live how Biden kicking black folks' ass right now. But they're very silent about it. Anyway, so anywho, Dr. Ben Carson, yeah, brilliant man still, and we got to get on this, y'all. When I heard, when I read the comments, when I read her comments on her Facebook page, it just made me remember how much that is weird, how we still sound this way. Why do we still sound this way? We still sound like toddlers. We're 17 years old and coming out, about to graduate from high school, and still have not mastered English. That's the stuff that bothers me. That, along with, the gangs and drug dealers and teen pregnancy and single motherhood. Those are the stuff that bother me the most, because those are the things that really negatively impact us as a race on a daily basis. Now we get the focus on who the president is and all that other stuff and what's going on in love and hip hop and stuff that don't matter. But we walk past every day the issues of single motherhood, the issues of gang members, the issues of fatherlessness. Now, you bring up fatherlessness because you want to crucify the men, but I'm talking about people who really matter, who really messing over the kids. That is single motherhood, that system. We need to talk about that. Stop shying away from it. Because that's one thing. We talk about everything in the world, but we won't talk about the danger of the dangerous impact, the negative impact that single motherhood has been on the black community. It has just put us way back. But anyway, it has set us way back. And I don't give a damn. Most of us came up with single motherhood. It's okay. I don't care. It still is not cool. But anyway, let's instead of our solution to help poor people, we have food banks and all that stuff. But also, like Dr. Ben Carson said, that's why I brought him up. He said poverty is a state of mind. And I'm a living example. I grew up poor. Food stamps, the welfare, and drama in the household. And when crack came in 82, 83, a little drama in the community. But my mother always said this to all of us. It doesn't matter if you were born in a barn. You don't have to look nor act like an animal. And that is what has always stuck with me. To the point of some people call me stuck up. Well, fine, I'll take it. Because it's not required, because I live in a poor area, or even if I attended a poor school, I don't have to behave poorly. You see how this works? So we're going to have to get rid of all the damn excuses. Yeah, I know about redlining. I know about systematic poverty. But guess what? This is not a third world country. You still can get up and get out. Because you can sell anything. If you don't believe me, look at Instagram. Look at how so many people have just become thousandaires and millionaires off of the internet. A lot of stuff we don't approve of what they're doing, but you can get up and get out. Until we get the drug dealing situation dealt with in our community, single motherhood, teen pregnancy, fatherlessness, dealing with black folks, we don't even be worried about who the damn president is. We can't even get a decent mayor in none of these damn cities. Decent city council, decent school board. Even if the school board was poorly funded, what the hell prevents you from going into the library to read a book? A book on business, a book on history, a book on English. See, it's a lot of excuses for a place that's not a barrio in Mexico, or further down the equator, further down south, or war-torn Rwanda. See, there's some places that's really fucked up. And America has its goddamn faults, and we need to keep fighting them. But one thing about it, everything that you want to succeed is at your grasp. And we need to tell poor people this: get off your ass. Don't get off your ass only to go stand in front of Hibbett Sports or Champions to get the latest Jordans. You ain't too poor, huh? It's poor thinking. You in a Section 8, you live in some projects or in a bad neighborhood, but you got on brand new Jordans? See, this stuff I'm talking about. But not one book is on your shelf. But you have a whole shelf full of at least 30 pairs of Jordans and not one book. See, that's the stuff we need to address in the black community. That kind of poverty thinking. You have on a $200 Gucci belt, but not one college application. See, I know all that other stuff matters, but I try to go where I really matter. Well, my word to be heard. That is talking to us. Because, see, we can sit around and yeah, this racist this, that's racist this, and he's this, and those people over there, damn those people. If the crime is in our neighborhood, why aren't we addressing the crime in our neighborhood as a community? Because we don't want to tell on who's actually a purveyor of the crime. A lot of these little dope dealers, these little shoot 'em up, these little carjackers, they come from single female households. And if you got a leader in your city, your mayor, your city council, somebody needs to say that out loud and address that. And also it needs to say out loud, stop speaking all this broken English like you're some kind of slave crawling off a cotton plantation. Check out my the description box. Like, share, and subscribe to Rico the Opinionist, my YouTube channel. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.